Well, good afternoon, everyone. Lots of familiar faces here today, which is great, and some new faces too. For those of you that I haven't met before, I'm Ed Hummel. I'm the Business Development Director at Auto Trader. I'm going to talk to you for about 15 minutes on the trend that we're seeing in digital marketplaces, and in particular, how we see the digital marketplace transforming the way we move vehicles. So, 3 parts to my presentation. I want to kick off just with a quick overview of Auto Trader, our core platform, and how that's performing. And the reason I want to do that is because we list over 450,000 unique cars on our site on any given day, typically. And we're generating literally millions of vehicle movements off the back of business that's transacted via our site. So whether that's you sourcing a vehicle from an auction and moving that vehicle to your dealership, or taking a vehicle from your dealership and delivering that on to an end consumer, clearly a lot of that activity is linked to business that's coming from Auto Trader. So I want to just update on how that core site's performing in some key areas, then move on to the growth in digital marketplaces generally, both in automotive and really across industry at large, and then finally I want to talk about how Auto Trader are responding to some of those trends in some new ways outside of our core business. So, first area then, Auto Trader, our core platform. Who are we? Well, we're the 16th biggest website in the UK, and we attract over 10 million unique visitors every month. That's a number we're really proud of, particularly because they're spending on average over an hour a month looking at vehicles on our site. And when you think there's just over 60 million people in the UK, the fact that 10 million of them are choosing to come to our site each month and are spending over an hour looking at vehicles is something that we're very proud of. We have, in terms of dwell time, another kind of standout figure is if you take all of the OEM websites combined in the UK in terms of how long consumers are spending on those sites, and then multiply that by 10, that's the amount of time that consumers are spending on Auto Trader each month. So, we see this pretty dramatic shift in the way consumers and businesses are choosing to buy products and services, whether it's automotive or elsewhere. And we think that's really going to unlock lots of new opportunities in car buying and also in other related services. So whether you're buying your next washing machine, your next holiday, your next house, whether you're wanting to go on your next date, whatever you might be into, digital marketplaces are transforming the way you go about buying those goods and services. And of course, marketplaces have been around for generations, for literally hundreds of years. But technology is really bringing it to the fore now, because technology is allowing these marketplaces to operate in a very easy, quick, simple, and transparent manner, which is why we're all using them more and more for purchasing goods and services. So we've been around for about 40 years as Auto Trader, and we've been that marketplace helping dealers sell to consumers for really the majority of that time. Initially offering a print marketplace, and then since 2014 we made the successful move from print to digital. But actually in the future, where do we see our business going next year? Well, outside of the core, we're looking to introduce new marketplaces in the B2B space, so helping dealers source vehicles more efficiently. We think that's a really inefficient process, and we think £300, £400 buyer fees are simply way too high, inefficient, and unnecessary. So we'll be tackling that next year. But the purpose of the presentation today is really to talk about this logistics marketplace and how we can save substantial sums of money for you and improve service levels when it comes to moving vehicles. So we now operate the UK's largest digital marketplace for vehicle movements. And it's an incredible success story, Motor Trade Delivery. It was established only 4 years ago by a chap called Rob Smethurst. He sold the business to Auto Trader about 18 months ago. And effectively, we've gone from moving no vehicles 4 years ago to moving 4,000 vehicles a week currently. And our growth rate, we're growing at over 20% every quarter at the moment. So it's a phenomenal success. And we're seeing that pretty much all of the major dealer groups now are using our platform. Initially for B2B moves, which is how the system was initially designed, but increasingly for B2C moves as well, so customer onward deliveries. And I'm delighted we're now moving all of Thrifty's vehicles in the UK, so we're moving into the fleet arena, and indeed with Arval now, we're offering inspect and collect services as well as customer deliveries for Arval. And we see that as an area that we want to expand in as we go forward next year. So what is motor trade delivery? What's so special about it? Well, I think the way I like to describe it is an analogy to online dating, but it's got added benefits to what most online dating sites, so I'm led to believe, offer. So in the world of online dating, basically it's a matchmaking service. You've got normally two people wanting to meet and go out on a date. In the world of motor trade delivery, we've got people wanting to move vehicles, and we've got dealers and fleet businesses with vehicles that need to be moved. And it's about matchmaking supply and demand. But in the world of online dating, so I'm led to believe, there are a lot of fake profiles, exaggerated profiles, people saying maybe they're a bit younger than they really are, whatever it might be. So there's no real control, there's no pre-vetting of who's in that network. If you come across to motor trade delivery, we pre-vet all of our logistics businesses that are on this platform. So we've got over 300 logistics companies on the platform, all of which we've checked their insurance documents, and we frequently check those to make sure they're up to date and relevant. You can only come on the platform if you have at least 1 year's worth of audited accounts, and you can give references from at least 3 customers of successful moves being made over the last 12 months. And there's a bunch of other things that are checked as well, but they're the key things that we check. So you've got 300 suppliers that are pre-vetted. You've got the 4,000 plus vehicles being moved a week coming from dealers and fleet businesses. And effectively, it's an online marketplace, driving service levels up and costs down. So that's the principle, but how does it actually work? Well, effectively, the journey starts by us understanding what you're currently paying to move a vehicle, and that's typically expressed as a pence per mile. So we'll take a pence per mile for a B2B move, a pence per mile for a B2C move if you're moving something direct to a customer. If we say the B2C current cost that you may be paying is, let's keep the math simple, is £1 a mile, the system on every job will reduce that by 60%, so it will take it down to 40p, and then effectively the auction starts ticking up. And the first supplier that wants to buy that job, so it might be backfilling, where we get efficiencies, where there's a driver up in Manchester that needs to get back to London. Historically, they might have to go by train. In the world of MTD, he can pick up a job to get himself back to London. So he may actually buy the job at a remarkably low cost, which often surprises our customers. We know the average savings are around £30 a movement. That's a real number. So that's taking from a dealer's accounts what they have been paying pre-MTD versus what they're paying since they've started using the system. We know we can improve the service level because actually having all the suppliers in one place with transparent metrics allows you to actually control what you're doing, and you can plan, track, and report on those cost savings daily. It's an intuitive system with effectively a homepage where you can create listings, you can monitor jobs, you can set up internal drivers if you want to use your internal drivers and manage them more efficiently as well. And in terms of listing a move, you can either do it manually or you can take an import from your DMS system. So, with Pendragon, for example, we take an import from Pinnacle. But equally, it's just as easy to enter a pickup postcode, drop-off postcode, vehicle reg number, delivery information in terms of is it a customer handover or B2B delivery, and contact details and delivery times. Hit go, and off that goes to an auction. And what's really clever about this system and what's unique is that it's very easy to control your networks. So if you're doing lots of B2B moves and actually your SLA for those B2B moves is pretty low and you just want a car taken safely from A to B at the lowest possible cost, of course, you'll send that out to all 300 suppliers to get the lowest possible price. However, if you run a bunch of premium brands and you want a VIP network of suited and booted drivers that are going to meet, a very high SLA that you will set, we can send that out to the 300, get them to sign that SLA, and there might be 60 that come back to say, yep, we can do that. We create you a network that then delivers on your SLA. Equally, what I often hear from dealers and fleet companies when I'm talking to them is actually, but we've got these 5 logistics businesses that we've worked with for years. They've never let us down. We're quite happy with what we've got. And to that, I simply say, why wouldn't you set them up on our system with a network? So with those 5 existing customers, introduce some competition to make sure on every move you're getting the best price and you're keeping standards high. Chances are your current suppliers are already amongst the 300 we've got on the system. We've pretty much got every supplier on there. I think BCA are missing, but outside of that, we've got the majority of other logistics companies on the site. And it gives you complete transparency. So you get a dashboard. This is just one screenshot where you can see live auctions ticking up and what's been sold and what's not been sold. And the conversion rate is over 95% in terms of jobs being bought. Of the jobs that don't get bought, you might need to relist those for maybe at a slightly higher price. But the vast majority get bought within the window set. And it gives you this transparency, and I'm not suggesting any of your businesses are affected by this, but we see a remarkable amount of bribes going on from logistics businesses, from small local operators in terms of, it might be a hamper coming through, it might be a bottle of whiskey, it might be something a bit more than that. But by bringing those suppliers on board, it creates complete transparency for your business. You can see exactly what the jobs are going for, and you can be certain that it's the lowest possible price. And finally, a major benefit of this platform is the use of the latest Google mapping technology. So from a customer service perspective, you can see, regardless of which one of those 300 suppliers buys your job, we can tell you exactly the route that vehicle is going to go. We can give you an exact ETA, and we can allow you via the system, via your desktop, to interact with the driver in real time via SMS, which is a popular method, by telephone call or email, all from one place, with all the insurance documents and everything stored, regardless of which suppliers won that job, in one place. And then once the vehicle's been delivered successfully, of course, the electronic proof of delivery goes without say, that's on the system. And we can use Ebbendax's Model technology as well for certain leasing company moves where they insist on Model being used. That's also integrated. So in summary, we think digital marketplaces are not only transforming the way we generally buy goods and services, but actually in the way we move vehicles. We think next year, again, we're going to see further growth in this area. And the key reasons for that, as I've said, are you can enhance the control of your logistics process, proven cost savings of, on average, £30 per move, we're seeing coming through in the numbers year to date, time savings, risk mitigation, we're pre-vetting all the suppliers on your behalf, and of course you get your KPIs coming through, so you can see exactly how much you're saving and the service levels that are being delivered. So that is the end of my presentation. I'd welcome any questions, or by all means get in touch via the website.